Hello and welcome to episode number 5 of the Warm Chord Music Podcast, where we talk everything music. This is your host, Jay Croft from warmchordmusic.com. And this week on the show, I have an interview for you that features Ed Gawlik and Chris Slapnik of the band Eva Under Fire. Ed and Chris are friends of mine that I've played gigs with in the past when I was in Bedford Drive and more active in the Detroit music scene. But these guys have been in other successful bands like Pillar of Autumn, and then other members of Eva Under Fire were in a band called Fall Prey. So you're going to hear about Eva Under Fire in this episode. We talk a lot about the band, their experiences playing on the road, what it was like recording the 2 albums that they've put out, one being a full length, the other being an EP. We talk about where the songs came from and their approach to writing songs, and then there's a pretty long drawn out conversation where me and Ed and Chris kind of have we kind of go off the rails a little bit, talking about 90s alternative and grunge music, which is a shared passion that we have. So that's a fun conversation as well. But let me just kind of give you an idea of who the rest of the band is. So in addition to Chris on guitar and Ed on bass, the band also features Rob Liberg on guitar, Corey Newsom on drums, and vocalist Amanda Liberg, who is easily the best vocalist I've heard come out of Detroit in a very long time. Not only does she have a great set of pipes, but she's just very dynamic. From song to song, she's going to bring it. The rest of the band understands their roles, and they play them to a T. So as a drummer, which is what I primarily play, I'm going to come right off the bat and say it's exciting to actually hear fills that both serve the song but add some excitement. It would be really easy for Corey to just sit back and play simple parts and just stay out of the way, but his playing adds another dimension to the song, so I just wanted to get that out front. So Corey, if you're listening to this, I don't know you very well. I don't know that we've met more than once maybe, but thumbs up to you. Great job on the stuff that you've been doing. Rob and Chris have a really cool dynamic going on with the guitars. They play off each other really well, and they write some damn fine songs. So, kudos to you guys. Ed, Ed's a really good bass player, and he's not yet featured on any of the recordings because he joined the band after they recorded the last EP. And we're going to get into that during the interview, how he got into the band and everything. But watching the band live, I saw the one show that I've seen them twice, I believe, and the second show I saw was at the Wyandotte Street Fair, and Ed played bass on that show, and he fit right in. I mean, he locked in with Corey on the drums, and looks like he's really enjoying himself on stage. Definitely has a nice full sound. So that's I'm looking forward to hearing what he's going to do. With his bass parts on the next recordings that the band does. The whole band just has a really good stage presence. So when you go see them live, you can tell that they have a really great chemistry, which is exciting to see. If you're already a fan of the band, then hopefully you'll learn something new about them in this episode. If you're not familiar with them, I would definitely recommend that you go check out some of their material. You can find them on Spotify. They're on Pandora. You can go check them out on YouTube. So pretty much anywhere, music is digitally available. They've been around since 2015, but the progress they've made in such a short time is a testament to their work ethic and talent. They've got 2 albums out, like I said, 1 full length, like 15 songs, which is pretty crazy. And then I don't know if it's like a 5 or 6 song EP, I believe, which they're both great. They played dozens of shows outside Michigan and have a really good grasp of how to promote themselves, all while staying humble and true to their fans, which is a big thing. So shortly after we recorded this interview at my home, the guys and Amanda went into the studio with I Prevail producer BJ Perry. And I know that they're really excited about that. You can learn more about this by visiting their Facebook page. I know Amanda did like a FaceTime video recording of herself kind of discussing this announcement and talking about it. You can tell that they're really stoked about it. I'm really stoked to hear what comes out of it. I'm not really a big I Prevail fan, or I don't know much about them or the producer, but I did a little bit of research and heard the stuff. Obviously very high quality production level, so I'm really excited to hear what comes out of their arrangement with him. So for now, however, we're going to dive into my interview with Chris and Ed. So let's get into that right now and enjoy. So we're back here on the Warm Chord Music Podcast. Got Ed Gawlik and Chris Slapnik, and I've heard some people say your name differently. I've heard Slapniks.
You said it the right way.
Okay. Well, I've known you long enough, so I guess, I should know how to say it.
You say it the right way.
All right. From Eva Under Fire, so thank you guys for taking some time. Appreciate it.
No problem.
How did this whole thing come? Because you've been in other bands. You guys been together in bands, so walk me through how Eva Under Fire started.
The bands kind of started, Ed and I played in Pillar of Autumn together, and then Amanda played in a band called Fall Prey. We used to play shows together all the time, and then, a couple of summers ago, I ran into her at, what is it, not Uncle Sam Jam, what's the one? Uncle Sam Jam, actually. And neither of us were doing anything. We talked about getting together and starting a band. So her and Rob came over, and the first day we pretty much had Betrayer, Annabelle, and Broken. 3 songs in the first day. So then we decided to start a band.
So you knew them from playing shows with them?
Yeah, basically Ed and I were in one band and she was in another, but we played together, shows together all the time.
It didn't happen right away though, because you guys were in Pillar of Autumn. I mean, did that you guys break up and then immediately start another band? Or it was a long.
It was a long break. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was maybe, 10 years ago. We were in different bands.
Yeah, there was a 10-year period between bands where that didn't happen. Yeah.
So you just still had their information?
No, I ran into her at Uncle Sam Jam, and we just started talking.
Gotcha.
And neither of us were doing anything. We decided to get together to jam.
Did your guys' bands play together a lot?
A lot, yeah.
That's cool.
So that's how we met them and became kind of band friends, where we'd play together all the time, hang out and stuff. And
yeah, a lot of good times at the Modern Exchange, Trolley Stop, all the good downriver spots before they stopped having bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a theme. I think being in Bedford Drive, it's we used to play somewhere. It'd be grand opening, grand closing.
Exactly.
It'd be I think we played La Jive and Wind Out. And that was supposed to be they're gonna open this really, because we were always playing coffee houses.
I was at that show too, and I played there.
Did you?
Not that show with you guys, but I played a show there too.
Yeah, the first time we played there, it was insane how many people we fit in that place. But it was a lot of fun. Extremely hot in there, though.
The best part was if you got to walk outside on the street, you could see Jay's butt crack because the drums was right up against the window.
You just had to say that, didn't you?
I did. Wanted to get it on tape.
Well, I do remember playing the last time I played there. I don't know where they got it from, but the owner had these old LPs, these old records somewhere. I don't know where Scott got them from, but he was just I don't even know why they were there. It's almost like he just brought something from home or something and had them there. Scott takes 2 of them, and while I'm in the middle of doing some crazy drum stuff at the end of the show, he busts 2 of them over my head. And it hurt so bad at the time. I remember I had so much adrenaline going that I didn't care. I'm whatever. And I'm just thinking I hope somebody got this on videotape, because at least I can watch it and laugh, because, but of course I can't find it anywhere.
The owner wasn't pissed?
What's that?
The owner wasn't mad?
No, I think he gave them to him. I don't even know. He might have told him to do it. I don't know.
Oh.
But it was one of the weirdest things that's ever happened to me at a show, that, and seeing a bride and groom come into a gig at 1 a.m. and the bride getting up on stage and picking up one of Ed's guitars and not knowing what she's doing. That was weird. Do you guys have any weird stories from the road since you guys have been together? Anything you want to share?
Anything weird happen for you?
Well, in this band, it's a little bit more tame because of it's a little bit more positive message than, being angry, kids, right? But I feel we've had some different people want to do different things. I know somebody wanted to propose during a song.
Oh yeah, that's coming up in December 9th. We're playing in Cleveland, and this guy messaged us a couple months ago. He wants to propose to his girlfriend before we play Summer Song. Come on stage and see if we can help him do that.
That's crazy, right?
So we said, yeah.
So you still have to do that.
Yeah, that's coming up.
So we probably shouldn't. We should probably edit that out. What if she listens to it? You think she's gonna
when
listen to
you
it?
gonna air this? Is this live?
No, it's not.
We got
live.
listeners?
No, but we will.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be on December 9th.
I think we can hold off.
Okay.
I think we can wait.
Yeah, so
we'll wait just to be safe.
But yeah, that's gonna happen in December, but yeah, nothing really wild happens in this. I can't think of anything wild that's happened. Like, we got in a fight or almost fight with Power Man 5000.
That's a good one.
Oh, really?
No, tell that story.
I mean, yeah, basically we played with them last summer in Bay City, and it was, the promoter put on the show. He was seeing us play somewhere, I think the Rockery actually, and he was like, "I really like your band. I'm doing this music festival with Power Man 5000. I'll put you on as like direct support. Come out to Bay City, blah blah blah. Cool, whatever." So we show up there, and apparently we were gonna go on. They have bands that are supposed to go on from like, I don't know, noon to like the end of late in the night, and we show up there, and apparently it's gonna be us at the end of the night, then the singer of Power Man 5000, his girlfriend's band, and then them. We show up, and it was raining, and the company that hired to do sound was so bad. They had no idea what they were doing. This is a big outside festival. So Power Man 5000 was sound checking when we got there, and I'm going to say they must have sound checked for at least another hour and a half while we were there. Yeah, and most everything was on tape anyway, which was hilarious.
That's crazy.
Then after they had a sound check for an hour and a half, the girlfriend's band got a sound check. She was awful. I'm telling you what, she looked like a stripper straight out of Henry VIII.
That's bad.
She couldn't sing, and she was just basically naked, and they got a sound check. And by this time, the festival was already supposed to start. So they had cut some bands from the beginning of the show whatever promoter, whoever they were, but they told them to go home. They're not playing because it was already a couple hours behind schedule. You know what I mean? So then they decided what they were going to do is they were going to have bands go on stage, load all their gear, sound check, play one or two songs, take all their stuff off stage, and bring the next band. Makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
Makes zero sense. So they did this for a while instead of sending more bands home. The promoter kept coming to us as like, you're going to play your full set. You're still going to play your full set to us because we were one of the, headliners or whatever the situation was. I don't know. But then over time, he kept cutting it down to now you're only going to play X amount of songs. And, we were like, we seen it coming anyway. So it wasn't like we were surprised or whatever. So finally, it gets cut down to you're going to play two songs. Where else is playing one.
I've been there. That's brutal.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
like, hell no, I'm not playing just two songs. Right. I brought all this crap here. There's no way.
We drove there. We stood there. We sat there all day, all this type of nonsense. So it was just like, I was like, fuck it. So let's just go home. But we ended up getting up there to play. We start the first song. And apparently the lead singer's mic wasn't going to the crowd. We could only hear it in the monitors. The crowd couldn't, and they were letting us know. So we stopped playing partway through the first song, and Amanda started screaming in the mic, whatever, this is fucking bullshit. You turn my, she doesn't ever swear or lose her temper, but she had enough of all the shit that had went on all day where she kind of snapped and yelled some stuff about turn the mic on, this is bullshit, this is, not professional, because like, dude, they brought in a sound company, they couldn't get the sound to work after all day, 10 hours at this point, So I figured out that my mic was actually going to the crowd too. So she took my mic. We played two more songs and stopped, and people were like, "What? You're done?" They were cheering for wherever. Well, during the last song we played, between the crowd and the stage, they had that barricade. Well, the singer of Power Man 5000, his girlfriend and part of their band, walked up, started flicking us off, yelling shit. The singer of Power Man 5000 had a bottle, and he acted like he was going to throw it at Amanda's head. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Which is funny because he's a little dude. And I don't know. So, whatever. They ended up not throwing the bottle and ended up going back to the side of the stage or whatever. And I'm just like, well, what the fuck? And it was funny because one of the members of the band was on the side of the stage that I was playing, him and a photographer, and they were loving it. And between the two songs, the guy's like trying to fist bump. He's like, wow, you guys are really good, And so after that, they start yelling at us. We're bickering back and forth or whatever. And the one guy, the singer of Power Man 5000, our guy, are yelling stuff about Amanda. you know, and Rob's like, hey, you know, that's my wife, so, you know, better watch what you say. And they kind of just stopped, you know, and we go over there and start trying to talk to him, and we're arguing and, you know, whatever. And then someone flagged down the cops because the cops came over and broke it up. So we ended up, you know, loading up all our gear or whatever. And, you know, I'm an instigator sometimes. So after we got all our gear in the trailer, I was like, let's go over there and start a fight with them. I said, what's the worst that happens? In my mind, I was like, dude, if this gets on the news, it's publicity. Plus, they were all, dude, I mean, I'm not kidding. All of them were each weighing like 130 pounds. They were all little guys. I'm like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
You know, let's go fight them. Who cares? So, you know, Rob, Frankie, who was filling in on drums for us, and me were down. And I gave Amanda my keys to the car so she could take it if we got arrested or whatever happened. And we convinced the bass player at the time, who wasn't Ed at the time, to do it. So we go over there to confront them, and none of them will look at us but the singer of Power Man 5000. They all kind of like avoid us, like we're like, you know, trying to start shit because whatever. And he started blaming it on his girlfriend. He said his girlfriend told him that Amanda was yelling in the monitors, fuck everybody, fuck the other bands and shit like that, which isn't true. And I was like, you know, I said, you know, we took this show to play with you guys because we grew up being fans of your band. I said we were offered to play with Sebastian Bach down the road, and we turned that show down to come play with you because we grew up. I said we were kids. We used to go out to Harpo's to see you play in the hood, you know.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, and he
we risked our life
right,
to come see you play.
To see you. I mean, I seen them with Edema, Spine Shank, Hatebreed, you know, different bands, you know. And he was like, he kept apologizing, blaming it on his girlfriend or whatever, and just kind of fizzled out.
Fun stories from the road, I tell you.
Yeah, well, usually, you know, we haven't really had that many bad experiences with bands or anything. Most people we've played with national bands or whatever, you know, it's usually a great time. One of my favorites was we played, I guess, wow, it was like last November, so it's a year ago. We played in South Bend, Indiana with, remember that band called Flaw? They were from like the early 2000s.
Doesn't ring a bell.
They were more of a new metal band, but we played with them, and I used to.
That's probably why I don't remember them.
Yeah, I really liked them. And the guitar player was like, you know, he came and actually watched our whole set, and afterwards he said that we were the best band he's ever seen that he's never heard of.
Oh, there you go.
I guess it's a compliment.
That was a compliment. He's like,
all the bands that I have though,
they're better.
Well, no, he was because they play all the time on the road. And they see bands they don't know
no, I get
all
you.
the time. And then, you know, so like afterwards he starts talking about the band. He gave me his number and stuff. And he had like, while we were playing, he was looking us up on social media and stuff. And he knew like all our stats and songs and shit. Was weird.
No, it's always cool though when you can play with bands that are touring and stuff like that. And you end up forming a relationship with them. And that's how, I mean, when I was in Bedford, that's what we did with Motion City Soundtrack. That was, you know, one of those things of just sitting there on a Monday at work, and I get a phone call from Clear Channel saying, hey, we need an opener, a local opener, and we could draw at the time. Just word of mouth. I mean, phone calls and emails, really. I mean, no one was texting that much back then. So we got lucky and was able to draw and end up forming a really good relationship with them, all the way to the point where when they came to town, we'd play with them. They did hand claps on the second Bedford Drive record. Nice. The drummer did. So that's always cool, man. I mean, like any other bands that you guys have played with, you know, touring bands that you guys have started, you know, having that kind of relationship with that you can think of?
Not really.
You guys have been playing with a lot of.
We play with a lot of national acts, but a lot of times we don't bother them.
No.
You know who I did talk to. We played with a lot. You know, it's kind of more of a bigger band. We were kids. Was Vinny from Sponge, because we played with Sponge so much.
Oh,
you know, but it's weird. Just like because I had a long conversation with them after we played with them and Sebastian Bach this summer, and it was just weird talking to him because I remember as a kid, you know, when Roddy and Pinata and Rex Ecstatic and stuff came out. You know,
we played a show with one of the guy. I think the first drummer in the band. Before he left, was in a band called Rev. It was at least one member from Sponge, and we played a show with them long time ago, like 2000, back in like Muskegon or something like that. So now you said, you know, at some point you joined the band. You had another bass player. How did you get in the band? How did Ed get in the band? How did this whole thing happen? Because you guys have been friends for years. Yeah. I've known you guys both for years, especially you, Ed. I mean, you know, you didn't start out in the band, so how did this whole thing happen?
Yeah, I think it just came down to a time where the band was getting some more attention, and they felt like they wanted to make a move at the bass position to just make it a better overall band experience live, in the studio, at rehearsals, stuff like that. So when I heard that was a possibility, I did what I could to scrounge up some gear and get ready for a rehearsal, and luckily we hit it off. So I mean, we're all good friends and whatnot, but I was able to get my chops back up there, because I mean, it's not like I was sitting at home playing. I did have a good experience with these guys at Simon's After Dark. This was maybe almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
We did a show where it was like an acoustic set. So they wanted me to come out and play some keyboard lines along with their stuff. And it was a real, unique setting, and kind of, got me back into music, and I was feeling that itch. So when the bass position opportunity opened up, I jumped at it. So, yeah, we've been having fun since.
Yeah, we had a lot of problems in the bass position. I mean, like,
you messaged me about it one day. My phone blew up, and you were quite pissed.
Yeah, we had so many talks with the guy. I mean, he couldn't show up on time. He couldn't move gear. He didn't know how to play the songs. I mean, what can you do? You can only give someone so many chances. And we had already talked about getting rid of him, and then we played a show in Indiana. And he was so bad. I mean, at one point, the drummer and I were playing one song, and he was not playing the same song.
Yeah.
I mean, he was playing a totally different song. We don't know what song he was playing.
That's rough.
We were like, dude, I don't know what your problem is, but, we can't do this. And we were starting to gain traction and had a bunch of shows. I mean, we've played about, by the time the year's done, I mean, between everything, we probably played about 60 shows this year, which is a lot considering we work full time and stuff.
You guys are like the weekend warriors, pretty much, right?
We don't just play around here, we go around the country or whatever. And we were like, we can't really go out to, can't go down to Texas or go somewhere like that and have this guy make us look like fools. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we had to make a move.
Yeah, you're not going to run into bands like Flaw saying you're the best live band, or when you want to make that impact live, everybody's got to be there. I mean, yeah, somebody might have one too many drinks because the set got moved and you didn't time it right.
But when you have a singer like we do, the singer's good. I mean, she's really good, but I'm saying, like, we just have to be a proficient band behind her. You don't even have to be amazing. We just have to be good and solid. And when you can't play songs you've been playing, for a couple of years, for whatever reason that is, how long do you just continue to go on that path before you just say, you know what, let's just cut our losses and move on?
They were getting worse too.
Right. Yeah. And it wasn't like, the part of the situation that was upsetting to me is, like, I liked the guy personally and I didn't want to get rid of him. I tried to talk to him nicely. Then I started saying stuff mean, because I was trying to make a point, whatever. But it was upsetting to me when people from different places who don't know each other, so they don't have some hidden motive, would all say the same thing. Hey man, what is this guy doing? It was people that were musicians or in the music business or whatever saying that this guy is really bad. Like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but you need to figure that out somehow. So that really, that opened everyone in the band's eyes and ears to the situation when it was multiple people from different areas saying the same thing.
Yeah, when you're hearing that from different people that's not in the inner circle like that, that's
right.
That's not, that's not a good situation to be in.
Right. It's not like there was one person conspiring against somebody. It was literally people from all over saying, dude, like, this is the problem.
Well, if you don't address it, it just gets worse and worse, and it gets to the point where the band ends up breaking up over.
We didn't want to do it. We literally tried everything we could think of. We had private talks, nice talks, mean talk, everything we could think of to try to say, hey, this is going to happen. But how many times can you say, hey,
Yeah, before you pull the trigger, right?
And it kept getting worse, and more and more people were bringing it to our attention, and it was just like, I guess we're going to have to do this. We didn't want to do it, but it just had to happen.
Well, you guys obviously made the right decision, and you guys are still together. And you guys are
definitely the right decision.
Well, and now, like, talk about the writing process. So, like, how do you guys go about writing songs as a band? And did you guys, when you first started, have any idea of like what it was going to sound like, or you just had some songs and said, let's see what happens?
Well, the songs start all different ways, from a drum beat, guitar riff, or vocals. And we didn't really have any idea what it was going to sound like. I think
at first you guys kind of thought you wanted to do like a 90s vibe, right?
Yeah, I guess I wanted to do more of a 90s type of sound, and then it kind of just turned into what it is.
Yeah, so that's kind of where
You're
it
going
started.
for like that Marcy's Playground type.
Not
You know,
that,
like
I know.
like a maybe an Alice in Chains type of part.
Yeah, something like
That's the inside joke. Sorry.
something like that though. Yeah, it was just something more like like I don't know, 90s like rock, grunge. Not new metal, but like like
Right.
a 90s rock sound. That's what I wanted, but it turned into what it is. It just it's hard to do that when you have different people.
What bands are you guys hearing yourselves compared to, whether you like it or
Well,
not?
you're gonna always hear Evanescence because we have a female singer.
Yeah.
Evanescence and Paramore.
Amy Lee's the queen of the female rock
Yeah.
band. So
Yeah, the first thing I mean, minus the female vocal side of it, but like I heard a little bit of Thursday, in there. I mean it's
And that's a band that we like. It's only because we have a female singer we get the Evanescence comparison, but we don't tune down.
yeah.
We don't play like the same style of like music as they do. I don't even listen to Evanescence or any of that type of stuff. That's not what I'm into, and I don't think anybody in the band, except for the singer, I guess she likes Evanescence, but that's not.
she
even her
likes all
favorite.
kinds of music.
Yeah, she
though.
likes
I
all
mean,
kinds of music, but none of the other people in the band that write the music or play.
Yeah, we're not like.
None of us even liked Evanescence or any of those bands. That's not even what we're into.
I like it as music, and I'll probably listen to a new record when it comes out because we get compared to them. But it's not like I'm gonna go watch it on YouTube. I'm not gonna like pay for it.
Yeah, well, and you guys aren't like feeding into it as like, well, I guess we better start tuning down and start trying to sound. I mean, you guys sound the way you sound because of your different influences that you've had.
Yeah, like the drummer and our favorite bands are Deftones.
Right. So we'll talk about that a little bit. So you're big time Deftones fan. I know you're into Limp Bizkit too, right?
I'm
The
into
guitar player. The
playing,
guitar
yeah.
player.
Yeah, not the singer.
You don't like Fred?
Yeah, no.
You don't like Fred?
Those lyrics are awful.
He just likes to dress like him.
Yeah.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
But that's cool. That's cool. I can deal with just the guitar player.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody who knows me, Creed and Limp Bizkit are like, and Nickelback is like a given. That's too
You're right.
easy,
It's too easy, right?
They
But-
basically took the Nirvana formula and like there was like an edge to Nirvana. They like took the formula and took the edge out, and that's kind of I think what they did. I
Yeah.
really think that's basically what their sound is. It's Nirvana with no edge.
I normally would try not to like alienate people or make people feel bad at what they listen to, but Nickelback sucks. I don't care what anybody says. I'm
not into
I
that.
can't
I
deal
know.
with it.
That's why for a long time I stopped playing PRS guitars. It's because like Nickelback plays PRS and Mesa, so I was like, well, I can never play.
I'm
those.
not gonna
Mark
be associated
Tremonti,
with
too.
these brands.
Yeah. All right, like I played PRS guitars before they did because my dad had one, and then when those people started playing them, that's why over the years I stopped playing them because it was like it ruined it for me.
Yeah, I would.
It's like
feel
playing
the
a
same
signature
way.
guitar. You play a signature guitar? No, because you're Jay.
Well, I had a Hetfield signature ESP or the LTD or whatever, and the thing I kept going back to is like, okay, it looks cool, but no matter what I do, if I'm ever seen playing it,
It's some other dude's guitar.
all I'm gonna hear is like, what's that guy think he's James Hetfield or something?
right,
Like,
right.
no, not even close. But so I ended up selling it just because, for a couple of reasons. But one of them being I just could never see myself like going out and playing this instrument. It just
Right.
it felt weird,
Right.
I'm like, no, I'm not gonna, try to even explain why I'm playing some other dude's guitar.
And it's different depending on what you're trying to do. If you're playing a Metallica cover band, sure, why not?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It is a cool looking guitar,
Right.
I mean, it was fun to play.
It
was
probably plays
hell
great
of a
too.
lot later than my Les Paul.
Yeah.
The pickups were surprisingly good for active pickups. Those J-Het pickups are cool. Not quite as crisp as I like passive pickups better, but it was a good guitar. But what about you, Ed? What's your what bands, what artists are you? Do you pull inspiration from?
Oh, geez. So I probably always lean on like 9 Inch Nails. So like electronic rock is probably like where I can always just go back to when I'm listening to music. AWOL Nation is kind of like maybe got a modern vibe for me of that electronic rock type of sound and like what people are doing a little bit differently. And then, you know, I'll always love stuff like Smashing Pumpkins, Pearl Jam, you know, that grunge bands from that time. Those are always have a special place in your heart when you grow up, you know.
So we're all kids from the 90s,
Yep.
basically. So we're all close in age. What albums from that era really, like, I mean, you know, you said Smashing Pumpkins, you know, like, okay, what's your favorite Smashing Pumpkins record?
Well, if I had to pick one, I don't even know what it is. And it's funny, because it's not even Smashing Pumpkins songs. It was the single for, one of the songs off of Melancholy. They had all the covers on it where they did Clones Were All and,
the Aeroplane.
yeah, it was one of the
Flies High or
Aeroplane.
something.
Yeah, the Aeroplane Flies High albums. I can't even remember what it was, but that box set, dude, I wore that thing out. It was like 100 songs and it was great. But one in particular, one of the singles had a bunch of covers on it. I just thought it was great.
One of the cool things about that box set is there was back when, like, you know, we were all latching on to like anything these bands would put out.
Yeah.
Like, I have to know everything they have, right? I forget the name of the song, but it's on one of those CDs and it's like 25 minutes of just like, they took all these unfinished songs and riffs and stuff and they just faded them in one
Isn't
after
it,
another.
like the Pistachio Melody or
Yeah.
something like that?
And there's like, you listen to it like, and you're like at the 18-minute mark, oh my God, they should have made that a song.
Yeah.
That riff is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
like, and you're just like, listen, like, are they going to make that into a song? Like, just cool things like that just bands don't do anymore. Like, and a lot of those 90s bands, like, they would just dare to be different like that. Gish is my favorite, just because it's a little bit more rock and roll.
Yeah.
I like the guitar solos in it. I love the drum sound in it. I love Siamese Dream.
That's
but
my favorite.
Siamese Dream is amazing. Production wise, it's probably my favorite, but as far as the music and just like, I'm driving, you know, 80 miles an hour, you know, I want to listen to I Am One or,
Right.
you know, Bury Me or something like that.
Siamese Dreams is probably still my favorite.
Quiet is probably one of my favorite.
Mayonnaise is
such
my
a good
favorite.
Mayonnaise is a great song.
Yeah.
You know, what about you? Any
If I only look, I mean, I still listen to a lot of '90s stuff. It'd be Deftones. I listen to Adrenaline still all the time.
so is that or Round the Fur? Which one?
Adrenaline.
See, I get crap for saying the same thing. I would say that.
Who gives you crap? I mean, Adrenaline's solid, but
no, we were having this discussion on, we were going to see, I think we were going to see Local H or something play at the Magic Bag, and we were having a discussion about, you know, like this album versus this album. You know, they're both great albums. So how can you pick one? Which one do you side with? And I like Adrenaline. Is it Adrenaline? Is that what it's called? Okay, so Sonic Reducer, when I was in that band, we used to play board, you know?
Yep.
And like, to me, it was like, it's like they're metal, but they're not, you know? Like, you know, it was cool. Like, we didn't really know what it was. Around the Fur comes out, we see them play at Clutch Cargo's. Limp Bizkit opens up before Limp Bizkit was really huge.
Yeah.
And they play, you know, My Own Summer or whatever it is. And, you know, they're playing these drop D, you know, chords that, you know, some of these other bands that are coming out like Hum and then we're starting to play, and just love that album. But Adrenaline just is so pissed off.
Yeah,
sounding.
see,
It
for
is,
me, Adrenaline's
right?
my favorite. Then Diamond Eyes. Then Around the Fur.
Yeah, Diamond Eyes is up to. They did a good job with that album too.
When did that one come out?
2010.
It's a more recent
Okay.
one for their catalog.
Because I think I missed that one. I kind of got away. Not that I purposely didn't listen to him, but I just kind of, I guess, forgot about Deftones after White Pony. Like, I listened to that album a lot, and then I just kind of lost track of them. And I came back when
That's
was Saturday Night Wrist or whatever.
I don't like that.
That was
album
a rough
anymore. It's my
album.
least favorite.
I bought that CD because I saw them playing live, and I'm like, oh, I like that song. I went and got it. I'm like, see, I'm still not into it. So I have not really gotten back into the Deftones.
No, after that, they had a bunch of things happen. Then they came out with Diamond Eyes, and that's a great album. You should pick up that album.
They had some rough stuff with some of their members. It's weird history there, but
You should check out Diamond Eyes.
yeah. What about Rage Against the Machine? You like the self-titled or Evil Empire better?
Self-titled for me.
Yeah, I mean, I love how raw the second album is, Like Evil Empire is just, I love some of the songs on that, but the first one is where it's at.
The first one's for me too.
That was recorded at Sound City. Like they recorded that live. Like almost the whole album was recorded like live in the room, and they had like people, like friends of theirs, like in the room while they're playing it and everything. I mean, that album just is.
You know what's funny is when we do sound check, we play in standard E tuning. So I play the riff for Know Your Enemy and Engine Number 9. That's like my two riffs I just play.
Yeah, like Bomb Track. How can you go wrong with Bomb Track?
Well, and the thing that as a bass player, like the tone on that first album is just incredible. I mean, it's probably just an SVT and a jazz bass or something like of that in that really nature, but played really well, right? So
yeah, I was always odd man out in my bands. Like I'm a big Pearl Jam fan. I still am. I don't care. I don't care how many people say they sold out back then or whatever. But I like
every show sold out every show.
Yeah, there you go, Newstead. I know exactly. Sold out every show everywhere we play.
They did. Yeah,
they did. No, they do, man. But I liked that first Pearl Jam record that's drowned in reverb. It sound.
10?
Yeah,
10's my favorite too.
Dude, like it's.
Did you listen to Remaster? Sounds horrible.
No.
Yeah, they remastered it.
Why? For saying 10's
why bother? Yeah.
No, I think what it is I used, I've got friends that were just all they when 10 came out, everyone liked it, right? But then it was almost like not cool to like Pearl Jam for a while, just like it wasn't cool to like Green Day for a while. Like Green Day got big, how that is.
Yeah, it's not cool to like Green Day.
And it's
now.
like, oh, they're not cool anymore. Now I'm listening to this, and it's just.
Well, it's still cool to listen to Dookie. It's still cool to listen to Nimrod,
I like.
But
I like
Boulevard of Broken Dreams, like that's
like,
for the soccer.
Versus
moms.
is, I think 10 is just sonically the most pleasing record of theirs to listen to. I love the drumming on Versus, and that was one of my biggest influences as a kid. Drumming was Dave Abruzzese or Abruzzese, however you say his name. Just got tons of inspiration from his drumming, and so that album is special for me. But 10 is just a great album. I like a lot of their stuff, even the stuff now. I like it. So they were always a band that I liked. Nirvana didn't really register for me. Like when Nirvana came out at first, I had a drum teacher, and I remember showing him Bleach. My friend Ed had Bleach, and I was borrowing it or something, and he listened to it and he goes, "These guys suck, they're horrible." And I'm thinking, well, I guess if he says they suck, because I'm like 12, or 13, I'm like, I guess if he's like, and then he showed me some other stuff, and I don't know. I just Nevermind came out, and then everyone was getting it, and like everyone was wearing flannel, and I'm like,
you just wanted to listen to your Rust in Peace.
Yeah, dude. Like that's where I come. I'm a metal head, dude. Like I love Megadeth. What am I gonna say? Like these guys can't even, But I didn't realize like until later how much I like Nirvana, and honestly, most of it is because of Dave Grohl and Chris Novoselic is their rhythm section. Cobain is great. I can't doubt that. But did you guys get into Nirvana when you were?
Yeah.
I know you were a big Nirvana.
This dude. I think we shared a locker at the time. Walking up to me in tears when he blew his head off. So he's a big time fan.
There's like certain how I learned how to play guitars. I learned like every Nirvana, every Rage, every Marilyn Manson. I just had the album books when they used to put album books out, and I just learned how to play the full album. Yeah,
I think Smells Like Teen Spirit was probably one of the first songs I learned how to play drums to, and Dave Grohl, just like when I'm a bigger Dave Grohl fan now with the Foo Fighters than I was back then. Cause I think back when Nirvana was really popular, I was so infatuated with more flashy drummers, I didn't really appreciate the subtleties of his playing, other than the fact that he just played humongous drums and hit crazy hard, that was a big thing to me. Like, man, that guy's a beast, right?
Yeah.
But I was all about Nick Menza from Megadeth, and I was all about Neil Peart, and listening to old Led Zeppelin, and huge John Bonham fan. So that's for me. Nirvana I didn't start appreciating Nirvana until later,
right?
But everyone's different.
You were talking about albums that you kind of grew up on, or hold a special place in your heart. For me, Rancid and Out Come the Wolves always like circles back to me, because I think it was like one of the first CDs I ever purchased. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to listen to the heck out of this. So people are like, oh, Rancid, punk, that's like a different scene. It's not like the rock stuff. I'm like, I don't really care, man. It's a great album. It's like 20 songs on there, and I know every word.
Yeah, you like what you like, man. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, we were talking earlier, before we were recording here about Alice in Chains. Like, that Dirt album to me is just some of the best guitar tones you can get. I love that album. I just think there's not really, I mean, almost every song on that record it's like Siamese Dream, you can, so many albums back then, I can just put it on.
Yep.
I mean, I was really into Stone Temple Pilots. I mean, like, there was so many bands back then that just were totally different from one another, that at the same time we're all sharing, I mean, the airwaves. I mean, my wife and I talk about this. It's like 91, 92, you've got Countdown to Extinction, the Black Album, Red Hot Chili Peppers, another one of my favorite albums, Blood Sugar Sex Magic is on,
Use Your Illusion, right?
Yep. The Guns N' Roses stuff, all that stuff, Faith No More, and then Slaughter's still trying to come out with stuff too. And so like the hair metal bands are like holding on for dear life because they haven't realized that no one is listening to them except for me. I'm still listening to that stupid stuff.
Nothing's like, I'm trying to think of bands like that now. There isn't stuff like that now.
Unless you're into Steel Panther, which...
No, I'm not even talking... I like Steel Panther.
I love Steel Panther.
I've seen them live. They were awesome.
They're great.
Yep.
But I'm talking about, like, I don't think there's that collection of bands like what you just said. And there was what you said.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to gain somebody's attention for a whole album. Like, you're trying to sell that one song on iTunes, and then hopefully sell that a bunch of times, and then get it streamed on Spotify and get into somebody's playlist. And it's a different... That's
one of the things I wanted to ask you guys about.
Yeah,
because
it's not like you can go to Harmony House and like put on a pair of headphones and just get lost in an album for an hour until somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, "No, it's my turn."
Did you guys go to Record Exchange when you were kids?
Yeah, actually,
absolutely.
That's
you
where
listen to
the
he's in a YouTube video watching the Deftones there, man.
Yeah,
it's great.
When Adrenaline came out, they played there.
Oh, that's right.
And I went there. I was like, I don't know, 12 or something, and I'm in the video for it.
That's killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just go there, and like me and Ed Surge, we would go there and just listen to the tapes and the CDs. Like, we could spend like 2 hours just listening. They didn't care that, they're like, "You guys gonna buy something?" It's like,
Nope.
Here's $5. I'm gonna buy that used Prong tape up there. I think that's one of the Prove You Wrong by Prong I bought there. It was
Rude
like
Awakening?
was
that on it?
I have Rude Awakening on CD somewhere.
I got it on vinyl.
Snap Your Fingers, Snap Your Neck.
Yeah.
Is that the one is that the album that has that?
Yep.
Oh man, that's going back.
Record Exchange was
Going
awesome,
deep.
man.
Oh yeah, dude, it was great. I mean, I bought my first Megadeth record there. Bought Countdown to Extinction there.
There's nothing like that around anymore.
No.
You sure that wasn't one of those free ones you got from Columbia House? Did you used to do that?
I did.
To, like, sign up for that, and then because you were underage, they
I did that too.
couldn't tell you to pay.
Well, I got it. Yeah. Well, I did that. But
I did that. Yeah. I absolutely did.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't pay. I don't have a credit card. This is my allowance money you're talking about. Well, yeah, I did that once. I think they sent me, because I would always forget to send the slip in for the CD of the month, because it'd be like, oh, you can get these 8 free CDs. But then we're going to charge you $20 for a CD next month, right? You better send in that damn piece of paper, or you're going to get that CD.
Yeah.
Right? So I forget to send the CD in, and 1 month they send me the double live album for like Van Halen, right? And I have that. I'm like, well, I'm not sending it back. I've already opened it, but I didn't want to pay $20 for it, and I didn't know what it would cost. I'm like, $20 or whatever. Back then, I mean, that's ridiculous to think you'd pay that for a CD, but that was a way to do it. I mean, my uncle got me into it, and he had so many CDs already. He's like, well, I get like 3 or 4 free CDs for getting someone to join. I'll just give you mine. That's how I got all my Metallica. That's how I got all my Metallica, except I already had, the Black Album or something like that. But Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets all came from Columbia House. And in that same package of CDs, so did Cinderella Night songs.
That's right.
Because I still couldn't stop listening to these stupid
you know,
hair bands.
I got a mixtape from this guy, and I think my mom hid it because she didn't want me listening to it or whatever. But it had like Metallica Garage Days, like the original one with all the covers that they did, Green Hell from the Misfits and all that. And then what else was on there? You put Kiss, God Gave Rock and Roll to You was on there. Gypsy Road from Cinderella was on there. It was a great mixtape, man.
Man, I don't, you know what? When I'm in the car and I have Sirius, and this is the only time I really listen to the radio, I have no shame in hitting that Hair Nation button. I'm sorry. I still, I'm 30.
Some Y&T.
Yeah, I'm 38 years old. My uncle, would show me all the stuff from these hair metal bands. It's the only thing I knew about rock and roll. And then he shows me one day this video. He's like, no, I'm going to show you this video for this band. They never really come out with videos. And it was Metallica. And I'm like, what is this? Like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I went right there. I went from just thinking hair metal was what it was, like Motley Crue, all that stuff, to, oh my gosh, Metallica, Megadeth, like people can play that fast, like then I heard Slayer and I kind of rebelled a little bit and wore a Hell Awaits shirt to Disney World. That was a fun experience.
I never got into Slayer. It's one band I could never get into.
Anyway, this is fun, but we could do this all night long.
Yeah, it.
I'm gonna move a little bit forward here, but what about goals for the band? So when you guys got together, did you guys talk about like what you wanted to achieve with Eva Under Fire? Was there any discussions about it?
It was just to write some songs and have fun.
Yeah,
that was it. None of us were playing. We all kind of missed playing. It had been a little bit for all of us, and we said, let's just get together and write some songs and have fun.
Is that still how it is right now? I mean, things are. You guys like. I don't want to say like overnight became pretty popular in the area, but like I didn't know anything about you being in this band, and then like all of a sudden you guys are like doing really well. I mean, it's amazing how quickly you guys have gotten a name for yourself and gotten some really good shows.
I think the goals have changed, but we still do it for fun because we work.
And I think the only reason that any goals may have changed is because there's more opportunities now that people actually happen to like the music. Right? Like you get together and you write some songs that you like and you're like, I want to perform these and hopefully other people get enjoyment out of them too. And they happen to. So
you guys all have day jobs, right?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
So, and isn't Amanda going to school or something?
Yeah, she does that. So we take time off. We go on tours when we can. We do weekend runs every weekend. And, the only reason, like you said, the only reason the things have changed is because the band has gotten some attention and getting more and more opportunities. It's not, so because of that, we can do more things. So now we take it more seriously, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. Some of that, the seriouser part is like the commitment type thing. Like I made a joke one day, like Amanda said she had something to do for school work or whatever, and she wasn't going to make it. So I like in all caps texted back to the group chat, "Where's your commitment?" Like totally joking,
Asshole.
but. Yeah.
Gotta be one in the band.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But we practice twice a week. We play, and we still play Friday and Saturday every week. So we still, we put a lot of time into the band.
Yeah.
No, it's obvious. I mean, you guys are all, 100% into it. I mean, like you were saying before, you have one person that's not, and it can not only show up to other people, but destroys it for everybody. It makes it not fun. You guys look like you. I mean, I've seen you guys play a handful of times live, and you guys always look like you're having a good time.
It's supposed to be fun, but like you were saying about, is there something you said about playing in a cover band earlier? It goes back to why we had to make the change. You're like, well, I wanted to, sometimes you just want to learn and do new things. So we write a lot. Like we released in 1 year, we released that 16 song album and then like a 7 or 8 song EP, and we constantly are always writing. So when you have one person in a band that you have to keep going back and learning songs from the first album because they can't remember or play them, it stops you from moving forward and learning other cover songs or writing. And it's a motivational killer. It makes it not fun.
Yeah, that was one of the intriguing parts about, the opportunity with this group is that they don't really stop writing songs, so.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I am jealous about that because, as much as I loved writing, in the bands that I've been in, every band I've been in, it just seems like it takes forever to finalize a song. And in some cases it's paid off and it's been a good thing. But like, I love just continually pumping out new things.
Me too.
And I guess, that was the other question I had for you guys is that first record is like what, like 13 songs?
It's 15 or 16.
15? Yeah.
That's
I mean,
a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is great because like there's so much to listen to, right? But I mean, like, number one, that's hard to put that many songs together for one release.
We had more than that. And then we had this EP we did. I mean, within a year, we put out another 7-song EP.
Yeah. So more than 20 songs.
It's like 22, 23
that is
songs
not
in a
the
year.
norm, like for independent bands nowadays. Most of the bands now, it's, they go the single route or EPs. And I've heard of, like, you told me the other day about the DIY Musicians Podcast,
Yep.
right? So if you listen to that, you'll hear a lot of things on there about, I don't know why people are putting out full albums that much anymore. Just put out EPs and release more often. And it's like, you don't have to do it that way. Like, to me, there's still value in having a full album.
Well, if you can, part of it is you got to be able to just say when a song is good enough. Be like, okay, this is good. I can release this. I'm not going to be embarrassed if I release this under this group, right? The other part of it is either having the networking skills or the money to get a nice recording.
That is
we run into a lot of people that are just like, what do you how do you do it? How do you do it? And we're like, you know what was most important to us is that we had the best recording that we could, the best value we could get for that recording. And I'm saying that I technically wasn't there for the time, but I remember the conversations they had. How many times you record Betrayer?
Oh, I think we recorded that song 3 times or 4 times. Basically took the same song to a bunch of different places and did the same song to see how the experience and how it turned out was, and picked what we thought turned out the best, and then decided to go back to do another 14 songs there, which ended up being another 20 songs there.
Like, where did you record that album at?
In Zoinga in Royal Oak.
Did you do that? Did you do the EP there as well?
Yep.
Okay.
See, and the thing is now is like we've written, I don't know, maybe 20 more songs that we have ready to go, but we're working with somebody and doing an EP with them. It's for other opportunities besides just, releasing music. So we have all these songs stockpiled. Some I really like that. I don't know what's ever going to happen with them, but right now they're not even going to be on this next thing we're going to release.
Yeah. Because of those opportunities, we get to work with some different people, try some different things. So we're going to see how that goes and ride the wave, really. I mean, we're in new territory for all of us. I mean, it's we know the local scene. We know how that works.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to ask you is, you guys have been in this game, for a long time, and when we were playing, we played some shows together
as like little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the scene back then. What's the scene like now compared to what it used to be like?
I feel like it's not as good.
So it's almost like back in the day, it was like a brotherly competition. You guys could go still hang out at the same party afterwards, sort of thing. And now I don't know that I get that same vibe. Everybody, it's a little more cutthroat. It's a little more if they're not listening to my band, they're listening to your band. Sort of like you're competing for the ears, and that's not what music is, right? It's about letting your expression out, and like hopefully other people like it.
I would say, back when I think when Sonic Reducer was around and I was doing that, we felt alone a lot. There was a couple bands that we were friends with, like 20 Mine and a couple other, people that we were friendly with. Bedford Drive really forged a lot of strong relationships with bands, and the scene was stronger. I think because we grew up with a lot of these bands, and they morphed into other bands, and there were the house parties after the show. Yeah. There was always a party after the show, and we would influence each other, and there were things that we would put in our songs. I remember distinctively writing one of our songs, and it was in a Bedford song, and it was just this simple, chicka, 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 boom. And it was one of these things where we were like, this is something strapped to a rocket would do, like, oh, this is something Landstrider would do. Like, and we would pay homage to each other and find ways to affect each other.
How many of those Don Polsky Hall shows did you guys used to throw? Did it get to 10? I mean, there was a lot.
I don't know that it got to 10, but it got pretty darn close.
Sure felt like it, but those were great. That stuff doesn't happen
And I
anymore.
never really, there was one year, Scott usually ran it, but then I think one year I did most of the booking for it. And that was my first experience in booking a lot of shows. And at that time I was booking most of the Bedford Drive shows. That was like for a year or two. And there was only a couple instances where bands would, be like lobbying for like, where they were going to play. And, God forbid anybody asked
because
for
everybody
money.
was there the whole time. Yeah. Everybody was there the whole time.
Yeah. Very rarely did I have to run into that stuff. It was a much more, back then there was a lot of camaraderie.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of negativity now, especially when you start getting some sort of success. You know what I mean?
So you think that some bands are kind of, I don't want to use the word jealous, but envious maybe, or you guys have, if locally, I can imagine if I'm a band on the bill with you guys, I better have, the way we would approach it is we got to have our shit together.
We don't even play around here all that much. This weekend we're going to go play it basically right outside Memphis and then Cleveland. We're playing, and then, and I don't think we're playing around here. We don't have anything booked around here, and we pretty much play every weekend.
That's smart though, because if you overdo it here, then it becomes, I was like, well, I don't need to go see Eva Under Fire this weekend.
They're playing next week.
Yeah, so we try to play mostly bigger shows around here with like national acts. We'll do those, and then very rarely our own show around here, and then just not be around here that much. Because of the way social media and stuff works, we have fans and following around the country, so we can go play in other areas. People show up and sing the songs.
Yeah, there's one particular app that we've been kind of working with a little bit lately called Bands in Town.
Yeah, I just got onto that like about a few months ago.
It's amazing. Just a quick rundown for people that aren't familiar with it. You can basically set up a show in Bands in Town. So you've got like a schedule of all your shows. And then if somebody likes your band and follows your band with the Bands in Town, or I think it integrates with Facebook and probably some other social media platforms. But if they like your band in there, the next time you play a show in their zip code, whatever the radius is or whatever, it gives them an alert that says, hey, this band's coming in town.
Yeah.
So if people like find music that they like and then follow it, track them, I think is what it's called in this Bands in Town app, they'll get a notification when you play in their area. And so, there'll be some shows where we're driving 1,000 miles away and there's 20 people in Bands in Town saying they're going. Well, we've twice now, we've run into a situation where the venue closed and we were playing another show kind of nearby, and we could say to all those people that tracked us in the app, hey, the show's done, the venue closed, but check us out at this show, which is not too much farther away. So it's like you have this extra opportunity to network with people. It's a way to alert them when you're playing to a show. This is just one piece of how you can incorporate social media into the live aspect, but it's so nice to be able to just see it right there and interact with people and keep them updated.
Are you guys booking your own shows, or do you guys have someone booking them for you?
We have a booking agency, and then I book some.
Okay.
So it's both. So it just depends on most of the local stuff around here I'll book because
Yeah, we know everybody.
Yeah, we have connections. Just people from the
I know
years
people.
playing. Yeah, not like
I know people.
No, but we've played around here.
I'm the
people,
cool kid.
We know enough people.
We know enough people. People know who we are, that they hit us up to play stuff around here. That's cool, and we say yes or no. Yeah. And then, but for out of state stuff, we have some relationships, but we go through a booking agency for most stuff.
How did you guys? How does that? Because we never did that. We did everything ourselves back then. So how did you find out who you're going to work with? Did they approach you? Or?
Yeah, they approached us and said, hey, we can help you book these out of state.
It's a learning
shows.
curve too.
Right.
Well, here's a few things that you want to know when you're going to a town. One is, when should I be there? The other is, what time am I going to play?
Yeah, we had some issues with them at first. So, it's like, you don't want to be because I don't think we're anybody, you know what I mean? We're just a small band starting out. But so recently I just pulled the big time card and, kind of was a jerk and said, look, we talked about it as a band. We to continue with you next year to play some shows, we have these requirements for a show. If the show can't meet these requirements, we don't want to do it. Like, we don't want to drive to, North Carolina again and go on at midnight. If we're not on by 11 or before, we're not playing the show. And also, don't book us with a bunch of metal screaming bands, because I don't want to sit through an hour or two of Cookie Monster vocals, and people who like our band don't want to either.
Yeah, they won't. Yeah. They won't even show up.
Yeah, it's nothing to do about being too good to play with somebody. It's like you're trying to. The whole point of playing out there, obviously, is for your experience, but you want to continue to build your fan base.
Right. So we want our fans in that area to come see us, and people who might like us to see us.
Exactly.
But if you book us with bands that are just the Cookie Monster vocals, I'll
tell you what though. That one show, we played one show like that. It was all Cookie Monster bands, but we got so many fans from their girlfriends. It was awesome because all their girlfriends showed up and watched us. So
yeah, well, that's hey, there you go.
But it's just so we kind of made some changes for the next year to say, hey, we want to do these things to continue working with you, because it's just got to be fun and worth it at the same time. And I just don't want to sit there for, I don't want to play at midnight and sit there through 2 or 3 bands of just screaming.
I remember one time I played this show at the Mosquito Club before it was called you guys remember the Mosquito Club before it was what is it now? The Token?
Well, it was the Token, and then it was the Mosquito Club, and then I think it was Pharaohs at one point.
Well, Pharaohs was next door.
Oh, yeah. It's all the Token
We had
now.
many Sonic Reducer shows we played there where it was like, well, bands are running over. I'm like, that's because you booked 7 bands at a coffee house.
Yep.
You guys, I remember we had to play at 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning or something. I'm like, who's going to be here for that? Right. It was ridiculous. And I was in Giant at the time, so I was playing in 2 bands.
Yep.
We had played a 2-hour show at the Mosquito Club, and then took my drums over to Pharaoh's Golden Cup and waited until 1 in the morning to play a show there. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't want to do all that.
It was not. We're kids.
Yeah,
this is different.
Like you do. Well, we've done that.
Oh
right?
Yeah,
we're just not going to do it anymore.
No, not when you're in your 30s, and it's like you're trying to also live a normal life at the same time. You're doing what you love to do, and when you're not working.
It's just not worth
it's not
driving somewhere and we have certain money guarantees that we want, and just all that stuff, but
show me my money.
Yeah,
well, it's like gas basically is kind of what we're asking for. Gas and maybe a hotel if it's real far away.
Let's not lose our ass playing the show, right?
Right.
Let's get something out of it.
We went on a tour and came home with money. So that was great.
Yeah.
After expenses were covered. So
that's good.
It's awesome.
One thing about this band I'll say, and I don't know if it's because of our singer or not, but whenever we play anywhere, it doesn't matter how many people are there. We sell a lot of merch, which is cool. We always seem to offset costs with merch. Whoever comes to see us plans on spending money on merch, which I like.
So shirts,
we sell shirts, hoodies, dog tags, puzzles, pillows.
Yeah, we'd have a pinball game if we could afford those, but we can't. That's just going to be too many.
Yeah, puzzles, pillows, shot glasses, dog tags.
It's so
shirts,
easy
hoodies,
to get stuff with your logo and your things on there. So we play around the puzzles. Wait, what?
The puzzles sell well.
Yeah, the puzzles sell pretty well.
Where do you guys go through for that?
Our drummer goes through, gets all that stuff, but it actually sells.
I think he's a big fan of Etsy or something like that, right?
Yeah.
No, I was Joe.
Do they? I don't know shit about that.
He's come over with a lot of different merch ideas, and sometimes I'm like, the only thing he's ever got that doesn't really sell that well is pillows. Puzzles sell surprisingly well.
I think we need to actually give him the pillow, because the problem is it's a pillowcase. It's not a pillow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got to buy your own pillow.
Here's the case.
Okay, hey man.
We didn't think about that one all the way.
And what we did for live too, which was cool, is we took the 2 albums we had and combined it into one and just sell 1 CD live.
So that's smart.
So it's smart. It's smart from a fan perspective, because they're like, hey, because when we had 2 albums, the EP and the album, they're like, what song was this one on? And we're like, what song are you talking about? They're like, I don't know, that one with the part that was cool. Or like,
yeah,
okay,
the one where that chick singer's on.
And then they got $6. We're like, well, we want you to have something, so we came up with the idea of just, here's an album of all the stuff we play live, and then we'll sell that.
We took a couple songs off of each that we didn't play and that we didn't think were that great, you can still get them on iTunes and stuff if you want the other songs, but we put 16 songs or something on this one CD.
I'm hooking you guys up because I bought the first CD and I stream it on Spotify.
Heck yeah. Appreciate that.
And we make money on Spotify. We love that.
Yeah, that's the way to go, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, but that's the thing. Like, you guys put the CD out, you spent the money on the recording.
And what's funny? Like, this is the first band ever where we've paid to record out of our own pockets, and we've more than made the money back. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, you probably got a case of CDs from a band in the past somewhere hanging out in a basement.
we've had the reorder
I know I've got
CDs,
some.
but it's not even just the selling of the actual physical CDs. I mean, we sell a lot of music on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, all the places you can buy music and stream it. We do that. You know what I mean? It pays off. So we've made more than enough money back from what we've paid out of pocket to record, which is great.
And I'm gonna pivot over to this story that you and I were talking about briefly, but you've done this really on your own. You guys were on a label for a small period of time, right?
We were on an indie label, but we signed with them after we had already recorded.
You were already doing this stuff.
And after we did the War EP, we were already had that done.
You guys don't need a label for what you guys are.
Well,
you
they
guys are.
thought they did at the time.
Well, So
but
we had anything we have written and recorded was done on our own. We signed with them for a short period of time because they said they could do stuff and they couldn't do anything.
Screw you.
It was snake oil.
Yeah. And then we had to get a lawyer and all that type of fun stuff to get out of the deal. And we did that because, they said they promised all the stuff they could do. They couldn't do anything. They would ask us to do things. We would show them things we were doing that were getting results. And they were like, no, we don't want to do that. But what they wanted to do was nothing.
Yeah.
They just wanted to make money off of
Yeah,
what
they
you
just
guys
wanted
were
money.
doing.
Yeah.
They wanted. So I wasn't on that.
Still waiting for that damn vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Never gonna get that.
You should have got a refund.
I didn't get anything.
I didn't get anything either.
No, I'm pretty sure he released something saying that there was supposed to be a refund.
He released something saying you got to contact this person and that person.
Oh,
and I just said, you know what? I guess I'm never going to get my money
That's
back on the
all right.
vinyl. And it's funny that what's funny about that story is we had no idea that was even happening. Like, we had no idea.
Yeah.
He had already had it
Trying
out.
to
Taking
release
orders.
music he doesn't own.
Yeah, because it wasn't from your Facebook account. It was
Right,
from the labels.
Yeah, and someone
account.
told me about it, and that's when I ordered one. I'm like, well, I like vinyl. It'd be cool to have this on vinyl. But of course, people were like, well, and they were asking us questions about it, and we were like, huh? We have a record coming out on vinyl? You don't know that.
That's
what
crazy.
are you talking about? After he got the letter saying, we're not on the label anymore, blah, 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 he tried to upload songs under a fake version of our name.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was.
He did a bunch of
This is
stuff.
ridiculous,
Yeah, he did a
man.
bunch of shady
Yeah.
stuff to try to make money off us, and he had nothing to do with any of the music we wrote or recorded. We did it all on our own. Nothing to do with, anything. He didn't even want us to sign with the booking agency we did with, but they couldn't do anything for us.
Yeah.
It's just
Like the booking agency's actually getting the show. He had no relationships to leverage, right? Like if you're a label, you need to do something either bigger than the band is already doing it or something that they can't do.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to supply capital or something like
Yeah.
that for recording, but you guys now with the way it's set up, I mean, you really don't need to spend a boatload of money on recording anymore.
So I attended something in Chicago, Chicago Ideas Week, and there was a guy out there. He's probably super important, but I forget his name. And he was just kind of doing a little talk about how people make money in the record industry and defining, what a songwriter is, what a publisher is, what an artist is, how a label fits into the equation, where the streaming music is, and what a label's good for right now. The big guys they get big checks from Spotify to divvy out to their artists or keep. So if you sign with a big name label, you want your contract to say, I'm going to get my cut of that Spotify money, that what's the title money, all those services that stream stuff. You want to make sure that's in your contract. That's kind of what a big label could get you.
Yeah, the big
now.
labels now are starting to do 360 deals where they're going after your merch sales now
Right.
too, because they're not making crap off of
Right.
And
album
that
sales.
was something that this guy was trying to do with us too on the label we were on. It's like, well, look, we're paying for everything. We're also doing all the advertising. We're doing everything ourselves. In fact, and what killed me is he went to sign other bands and used our success that we were having to sign other bands, portraying that he helped us
when we weren't even on the label.
Right. He didn't, and other bands. We finally reached out to them and we talked to some other bands and we got the lowdown on what was going on. But it's like, they had no help. They didn't do anything for us. The only thing they did was help us make a couple videos. That's it.
Which we were completely capable of doing with other people that we knew.
Yeah, didn't you do some of the videos on your own?
Yeah. Most of the stuff we did on our own. We did 3 videos with them.
The biggest one, Drift, was something we did on a weekend with Mateo, right?
Yeah, for like a fraction of the price of what the label tried to charge. So yeah, I mean, it was just a nightmare all around, and that's why they have lawyers. But was able,
Well, gladly you guys got out of that whole ordeal. That's ridiculous.
But you're right. Like you can do. I mean, if with social media and stuff, if you use it the best you can get exposure for your music, to some extent.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing different too about today's music scene, I mean locally or nationally, whatever you want to call it. I mean, those tools didn't exist 10 years ago. Yeah, I mean I think when Bedford Drive was around at near the end of it, MySpace was just becoming a thing.
Yeah, we were making quarter-page flyers and dropping off in record shops and handing them out to kids.
You had to hang out at the venues and watch bands you didn't want to watch just so you could find 5 minutes to get with the guy who booked the show or the promoter and, do all that kind of stuff. And there was no, other way of getting people out to your shows.
Sell physical tickets to a show.
Yep.
How many times you go drive 50 miles to drop off 2 tickets for some show because you wanted to play it or whatever?
At the same time, though... Now, there's so much more accessibility to the recording and to social media. There's a lot of noise out there too.
That's true.
So how do you guys find a way to, get yourself some attention from all these people that are out there that are listening to all these bands? There's so many bands out there now, or people that think they're in a band.
Yeah.
How do you get your stuff to stick out? Because there's a lot of talented people putting stuff out there that are not necessarily playing shows that are still trying to promote themselves.
Yeah. So I think part of it is that you just have to try a little bit harder than the other people, right? Some people are really creative, really creative, very driven, but they maybe just don't have the motivation, or their motivation isn't focused in the right area. I know we use Facebook as a networking tool because it is one that you can actually interact with your fans. You know how, trying to think of a good example, but like the allure of being a rock star was like a thing in like maybe the 80s and some of the 90s or whatever, where it's, it's kind of this untouchable creature. Well, that's a myth now. Like that's just not the case. You have to interact with your fans or they'll find somebody else to interact with. So when somebody messages us, we, Amanda, whomever, will interact with them.
Yeah, what's your drummer's
answer
name?
Their question. Corey.
Yeah, so I saw a video that he was speaking in that you guys have on YouTube that's saying the exact same thing. If someone messages you guys, you make sure to reach out to them and say something. I've noticed that myself just when I've sent, a couple things.
We get messages all the time from people around the world that this song has helped them and touched them. It's just like sad, crazy.
I saw one of those videos,
messages.
A reaction to one of your songs.
Oh my God, yeah, that was incredible.
That
right?
was touching.
Well,
man.
we get stuff like that every day, and it's, I don't know. I appreciate. It's the thing is like, Facebook's great because it's an easy platform to promote your music. Like it's just so easy to get it out there that if people like it, they'll respond to it. But what I like the most is that, we wrote these songs in a basement. We recorded them in another guy's basement studio. We put them out and the people around the world listen to them. Like I didn't waste my time, I feel like.
What's the top 4 cities where people listen to us?
I can tell you now on Spotify what our top cities are, and it's like not just America.
It's probably
not one of them. Not one of the top 5 or 6 is Detroit.
Paris.
I think in Michigan.
Yeah, it was Paris was one of them. Melbourne, Australia. These are large.
That's cool.
Somewhat English speaking
our
areas.
Top cities: Chicago, Denver, Houston, Los Angeles.
Oh, those are in the U.S.
Oh, this has changed. Yeah, Dallas, New York, London, Seattle. So there you go. Paris. You know what
It's
I mean?
wild,
When
right?
you guys play London, let me know so I can tag along,
Yeah,
because
right.
I still want to get down to Abbey Road at some point.
Well, yeah, so I mean, I look at Facebook as this, you said there's a lot of bands out there that put their stuff out, they put videos out, they do this or that. If you put it out and people like it, they'll find it and respond to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think Facebook is right now is the ultimate platform because you can actually interact with people like more than 142 characters or whatever Twitter limits you or used to limit you. It's not just pictures. It's not just a Snapchat timeline. Like all of those are good platforms to interact with people in some way, but use that to get them to Facebook because that's where you can actually interact in all of the ways.
And it translates to sales.
Yeah, and that's it. Like you said, you don't need a label for distribution anymore. There's TuneCore, DistroKid, CD Baby, you name it.
I've been using DistroKid for the last 2 things I've done.
Yeah,
And I like
yeah. It's interesting. How do you like them? I know you were a CD Baby guy right before, right?
I like the fact that I just found it easy to use, and I tried it. I got a discount from one of the YouTubers that I follow.
First hit's free.
What's that?
the old drug addict trick. The first hit's free.
No, it was like a 7% discount or something, and then I just liked the way it worked. I like CD Baby too. I mean, I've always been a fan of theirs, and I think they do really good work. But I wanted to try something a little bit different. Yeah. I liked how quickly they got stuff up there. I think it's good that there's competition now.
It has to,
I know you've been using TuneCore.
I use TuneCore. It's great
for a while.
And it's like an easy button for us. Like there's so many things we're doing on our own, right? You just need somebody to take it off your hands a little bit. If it gets to the point where we're like, this isn't doing the things we need, maybe we'll look at a DistroKid or CD Baby or something.
You paid with DistroKid, you're paying an annual, I think it's like $20 a year, and you can put as many things up there as you want. If you want to take it down, I think back when I was looking at it, there were things like, if you want to take something off and then re-release it through CD Baby, it was not very easy to do that. It was kind of up there. Once it's up there, it's up there.
Right.
And DistroKid just seemed to. There were gaps that CD Baby had that DistroKid could fill, and now CD Baby's doing what any competitor would do. They're starting to recognize that, and they're starting to rectify. Now, what are they doing? Now, DistroKid, and I think even TuneCore does it. Now they're automatically trying to submit your stuff to Pandora. Okay. Whereas before you have to go directly. I mean, it still has to go through their curating process and everything. But,
so some of the other things that I've been hearing a lot about too are like, trying to get yourself available for pre-sales type things. Like there's a magic box you got to check if you want to like release it on a certain day in order for pre-sales to happen. And that's like important if you want to chart in a certain, category somewhere. And then also Spotify, my understanding is that Spotify has this capability for you to do something similar where it's like, I can add this song to my playlist, even though it's not available yet. It's like a pre-listen type of a thing. And then when it becomes available, it will be in my playlist. And that's something that we definitely want to check out for the next release. The last two was just kind of like, these songs sound great. Let's get them up there. It wasn't like let's make this a huge release thing. It's like, we're a new band. Let's get this stuff out there. And I think this time we'd like to see if, maybe we could chart somewhere. That would be awesome, right?
Well, I think you ever follow Ryan Bruce, or his name's Fluff, on YouTube? You should check it out if you haven't.
Okay.
But there's a band that he's in, Rust Repose. And they are complete, like, 2 of the guys are big YouTubers. One of them's got like 1 million subscribers.
Okay, yeah, big time.
The other one's got like a couple 100,000 followers or whatever. And I'm a huge YouTube fanatic, and I've found that a lot of these guys are collaborating with each other, and you start finding out about them. And they were completely, they're not really a metal band. They're like more of a hard rock band, but they're all YouTubers, and they charted.
Yeah.
They started playing locally, like in the Northwest. They're from like Washington, or something like that. And they play mostly on the West Coast. and they were up on, like, I don't even know how high up, but they were getting like a ton of attention.
Yeah.
Most of it through social media. They play
See,
shows, but not.
I think we would have charted if I would have done it because I submitted this stuff, done it right, because we've sold a lot of music.
And you guys have, like, how many followers do you have on Spotify now? It's quite a bit.
Spotify was just, I think, 12,000.
It hit over about 13 the other day, and it goes up and down. But I mean, like,
well,
as far
I might
as,
have that wrong with streams and followers. I'm not sure.
But it goes up and down on Spotify. But I'm talking about the music we sold on iTunes, Google Play, and all those places. It would have been enough to chart. So we're hoping with this next release, if we do stuff the right way, because before, like you said, it was just, this is good, this is done, let's just throw it up. There was no plan or thought, So we're hoping this time, if we do it the right way, if all these people buy it, it would chart. We could be on some sort of chart.
Well, last couple things from me. Are you guys amp guys or guitar guys? If you had the ability to get a new amp or new guitar, what do you think you would do?
Guitar. I don't care about amps.
Okay.
I got two. I got a really good one and a metal one. That's all. And you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't geek out over amps. I like guitars.
So what kind of guitars do you tend to lean towards?
It changes all the time, but right now I like Gibson and Fender.
What's your favorite guitar right now?
I have a green Les Paul Custom.
Yeah, that's the one I've seen you play. That's a nice guitar. Again, as a lefty, you don't get a lot of choices.
Right.
So when that blue one came, I'm like, yep.
Yeah, you need that.
I need that guitar.
I have a Sunburst one like you have or whatever. I mean, that's like the standard.
Yeah, the caramel. That one's a caramel burst or whatever.
Like a lighter version, but that's like every Les Paul. So I have that one, and then I saw a green one, and I've never seen that before. So I hunted around online for a while so I could find one, and I found it in New York.
What about you, Ed?
I'm definitely a guitar player, guitar as well. I mean, amps are cool. I've actually built one before, 5E3. It's like a Fender clone, old school 50s Fender clone. And it's a cool experience, but like a lot of your tone and your style is like in your fingers. And I prefer to just play an electric guitar unplugged, like in the music store. Because if it sounds good there, it's going to sound good no matter what amplifier I put it through, right? Like if you can't get a good set, like if it's got dead strings and it's fretting out on you or whatever, like it's just not going to sound good when you put it through an amp, right? But yeah, I'm definitely a guitar fan.
Now playing bass in the band, what kind of bass are you playing?
So my go-to is a P bass. I am in the process of building another Warmoth. It's like a jazz bass body with a P bass pickup configuration. So that's going to be a nice, cool little project that I've got going on. But I've also got, I like the Leo Fender basses. I've got a Stingray. I've got a G&L L2000. I like. I just like.
Spear.
What's that?
That Spear.
Check the
black thing.
The Spear?
Isn't it a Spear? The black one?
No, it's a Spectre.
Oh, Spectre.
Yeah. That's so that's a little bit different than a Leo bass. That's a little bit more, set neck, higher end quality. I don't know. I'm toying with it.
And as far as what you guys are running on stage, you guys amp wise, Chris, you're using the Bad Cat stuff.
It's a Bad Cat.
Both you and Rob are using those.
Yeah,
now?
Mine's a 30-watt head. I run it through a Mesa 212 cab. Simple. I mean,
how'd you get turned on to their stuff?
I remember seeing Bad Cat amps as a kid, and then a friend of mine had one that I played in a band with before this band, and it sounded good. And I just thought I just wanted a little more gain. I like a little heavier guitar tone. He said, "Well, they make this version of the head. It's got more gain," and I just found one and bought it.
What model is that one?
It's a Hot Cat 30.
So tell them the important part though, for the real amp nerds.
What's the important part?
Isn't it a Samson era?
Oh yeah, it's a Samson era, which was the guy who used to build Matchless amps before they went on. But Matchless went out of business before they came back. Yeah, so when Matchless, he went and basically built Matchless amps for Bad Cat. So it sounds incredible.
It's got a Samson era Bad Cat.
Yeah, so like it's like apparently like the couple in that year range where it's like the holy grail of it or some shit. You know what I mean?
Do you guys really get into like between your sound and Rob's sound, like trying to get them to work together? Do you guys spend much time on that?
We do actually. Well, not a lot of times. Like, I'm not one of the people who scoops my mids because it's a guitar, so I just leave it whatever. And then he just kind of works around my song. I don't really ever change. It's kind of him trying to work around mine.
Which is like, how Chris lives life.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't really change.
I can remember playing many practices where Ed was kneeled down in front of his amp. He always got great tones, so there's a reason why. He knows what he's doing. But that's important, and you guys are playing live. You can actually hear, your fans can hear what you guys are playing. You guys have a lot of cool stuff going on your records. Trying to get that to project live, as any things that you guys have learned through playing all these shows, maybe what to do and what not to do.
Simple. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Use Dunlop strap locks. Jim, don't bother with the Schaller. Don't bother with the DiMarzio, Diodario clip things. Just use Jim Dunlop strap locks.
Simple stuff.
Sounds like somebody had an accident at some point.
It's not neither of us. We've seen other people along the way break stuff. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things.
I used to like to try to take guitars and change guitars because I like playing guitar. I try to keep it down to one guitar, a backup that I don't even touch, a simple rig, condensed. That's why I only use a 212 cab instead of a 4. It's easier to move, takes up less space in the trailer, and it's loud as fuck still. It doesn't even matter.
There's two kinds of guitar players, too. There's the kind that can use a set of strings for a day in their bed, and then there's the kind that can use a set of strings for like a month in their bed. If you're the one that they go dead after a day, you should get those quick change tuning heads, too, because it just makes it so much easier to change your strings.
I'm the guy that go bad after like a day, so I have the Grovers like you do. I just change them.
They're so easy.
So easy.
Yeah.
That's a must-have for me.
Any other advice that you guys have for other bands that are trying to do what you guys are doing?
So on our last show, I just did no bass amp. I use a it's a Tech 21 VT. It's a Sans amp pedal, so no amp, Sans amp. But it gives me a decent SVT sound. I'm using a P bass. It's the bass. The sound guy, you're at the mercy of the sound guy most of these shows anyway. And I'll tell you, it was liberating not having to haul the 300-pound or the 100-pound, 300-watt SVT onto the stage. I highly recommend that if you are limited in space, you give it a shot. The 810 SVT rig looks pretty sweet, but we're not really there yet. When somebody else is going to move it,
I still want the 412, but then I look at the fact that it, in no time soon am I going to be turning that thing up to justify getting it, and I sure as hell don't want to carry it out of my basement.
If you got roadies, that's one thing. That's why I'm glad this guy's got a 212 Mesa, because he's got a 412 Mesa, and it weighs 500 pounds. Like, no joke. At least 500 pounds.
It sucks.
It's bad.
Well, hey, we're going to go ahead and cut it here. I want to tell you guys thanks so much for taking some time. We could go even longer if we wanted to, but I know we all got jobs, so we got another life other than this rock star life we're talking about. Yeah. We're talking about. So thanks a lot, guys, for taking some time. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
All right, so that was my interview with Chris and Ed. I want to thank both of them for their time. It took a little while to get this episode up, but one of the reasons why is because I've been knee-deep in trying to get this new song released. Right now, the working title for that song is called Haunted in Dreams. It's a pretty cool concept for the song. I've been working with a lot of different people on this song. Even though I wrote it, I'm collaborating with some folks as far as different instrumentation. I've got a couple different folks that did the singing on it. This is the first one I'm releasing under the Warm Chord Music name that does not feature myself on vocals. So that's exciting. It's a different experience really to work with remote musicians. So I'm going to have a podcast in the future that talks about that and some kind of things to watch out for when you're doing this kind of stuff. And another podcast that's going to be coming up soon is going to be featuring a continuation of a discussion that was had between myself, Ed Sertage, and Ryan Looney at Sweetwater's Gear Fest event in June of last year. Where we talk about their businesses that they're running. So totally separate conversation from what was had in episode number 3, if you listen to that one. But very entertaining, and it was definitely fun to do that episode. I also am working on booking a guest from out of the country. Her name's Mary Spender. Mary is unbelievable singer-songwriter. I've been very blessed so far to have some really cool people help me with the podcast, and she's agreed to help me out and being guest on this podcast. So she's from the UK. So hopefully we'll be able to get that set up with her soon on Skype and record that and then get it out to you. That might not happen until sometime this spring, but just wanted to give you a heads up on that. So if you haven't already gone to the Warm Chord website, please do so. It's just simply warmchordmusic.com, all one word. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and subscribe on YouTube if you could. Trying to get that subscriber count up to 1,000 by the end of the year. That's a hope of mine. So if you can help me out by doing that and sharing it with friends, that would be great. So anyway, thanks so much for checking it out. If you haven't subscribed to the Warm Chord Music Podcast on iTunes, please do so. And we'll talk to you next time.